Good morning everyone and welcome back to the vlog. In today's episode, we are going to be reviewing one of the best-selling subcompact SUVs on the market today. Not only is it a looker, but it's also got some power to match. We are going to be reviewing the MG ZST. Now MG did lend us this car, so full disclosure on that, but we will give you an honest opinion on this car and obviously our take on it. Now, granted, I am 5'11", my child Iggy is 6'3", and Joey is 5'8". We're all gonna jump in this car and show you that this car can handle all of us, which were actually more than average Filipino heights. Check out this huge boot. Now this is I guess a standard style suitcase. Lots of space. Doesn't have an auto trunk, so it's a manual trunk system, but we do love how you can open it using the MG handle. Nice LED taillights, ZST badging. This comes in a blue. Today we're headed to Leviste Equestrian Park. We made a special request so that we can go ride some horses. This has to be one of the coolest features. Check out the panoramic roof. It is one of the biggest panoramic roofs that I've seen in the subcompact market. What do you think?
It's good. It reminds me of like a Tesla panoramic roof.
Yeah,
and which you don't see often.
And for those who I guess feel claustrophobic, this is perfect because it makes the small car feel bigger. And later we'll open the skylight panoramic roof. Also, the whole front half does open, so it's pretty cool. What do you think so far?
So far, so good. Smooth ride. Yeah.
Transmission's fairly good.
Yeah.
Now the ride comfort, I wouldn't say it's the softest in the industry, but it is compliant. The road noise from the cabin is actually fairly low. We are running on Michelin Primacy tires. I've never actually heard of the Primacy model because normally we run the Pilot Sports for these sports cars. So far so good. Apple CarPlay seems to be working flawlessly with your phone. For my phone, it seems to be dropping out. And then yeah, comfort-wise, I feel pretty comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, being 6'3", it's hard finding cars that I fit in, and this was surprising, but I actually have.
Yesterday when the car was delivered, you were like, am I gonna fit?
Yeah.
And we actually had to pre-test everything just to make sure that, you know, we don't want to torture Iggy, right?
Yeah.
Chop off his legs. But anyway, last night we were also going through the alternatives for the subcompact industry market, and honestly, no BS, this car looks one of the best in terms of the classes that we saw. And I don't want to name the other brands because I don't want to downplay or down-talk any of the other brands, but this car is a looker. And I think, you know, style-wise, give MG a thumbs up. If you guys didn't know, MG also means Morris Garage, which is now actually a China-owned company, but MG is a British marquee. So just to give you guys brief background, look, we're gonna open it, just twist this knob. And then you can twist it extra. I don't know why it didn't even make it open all the way, but look at that. So cool.
Super.
Because even the Fortuners don't have this.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
One of our initial impressions about the car is that during the smaller, bumpier stuff on the road, no problem, it's very compliant. But if you have like the bigger potholes or I guess like the more angular, steeper road changes, then you really feel the stiffness of the suspension. Now the automatic gearbox is very smooth, but the kickdowns are actually very slow. Guys, what are the chances that is the MG ZS without the turbo? And you can see now the differences of the car. This doesn't have the LED taillights, it doesn't have the fake exhaust tips on the bumper. And yeah, it is the white version. It also does not have the panoramic moonroof.
No, it didn't look like it.
Yeah, so funny. Using the sport shifter, downshifting, Now we have second gear boosting. Hey guys, we just got to the venue and look at this beautiful gate and the trees. The trees at this place look amazing. So happy to be here. Thank you so much to Maritess for inviting us and letting us use her horse, Flores, and we're actually renting 2 other horses. I guess that's Edlin. Oh, how beautiful! Look at that! Wow!
Whoa. What country did we just
Good morning, Pa!
Morning.
Wow! This venue is amazing. Thank you so much to Tess for inviting us. This place is owned by Miss Tony Leviste and she has an awesome collection of horses. It's so amazing. We met Edlin's husband also, who's the trainer. What an amazing day. Thank you so much to Maritess for inviting us here at the Leviste Farms. Thank you also to Tony Leviste for letting us use this venue and riding some horses and renting them. I'm so happy to be here. Iggy and Joey truly enjoy themselves, but now we're gonna go through the car review. First off, starting with the front of the MG ZST or ZST as they say. The grille and the front fascia, in my opinion, there's nothing like it. For this price point at $1,158, I don't think you can beat anything in terms of the looks. Doing with the headlights, the DRL system with the LED headlights are pretty updated and pretty bright. Along with the obsidian grille, this looks pretty good. I love that they didn't actually use any chrome for the front trim. Moving to the side, we have the 17-inch Tomahawk design wheels wrapped in Michelin primacy rubber. And I like how they did the red caliper. Even though it's not a piston style caliper, it's a sliding caliper, it still looks pretty sporty. Now moving over to the side of the car, you have the black mirror cap with the signal light here. That's pretty cool. Over here we have the aluminum polished rail. I think this satin finish fits the car. And then we have some chrome trim here along with the handle. There's a locking system over here so that in case you need to enter without using the key, you can just press that. So moving over to the rear also looks good in terms of business as usual. The only thing I didn't like was the fake exhaust chrome tips. Now the exhaust is actually just pointed down underneath the car. The fake exhaust tip in the back just tries to make the whole rear design more symmetrical, and I love how they have sort of a rear diffuser style design. Now the engine in the ZST is a 1.3 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder engine, again hooked up to a 6-speed automatic gearbox. The engine is not that powerful, but then again, you are buying this car for economy and not for super outright performance. The gearbox is very smooth, although the kick down when you're shifting from a higher gear to a lower gear, it's actually a little slower than expected. But then again, this is an economy compact SUV, so you can't expect that much from it. But I'm telling you, if you research on the other subcompact SUVs on the market, you're not gonna find anything that's prettier than this face. This looks very good. Now moving to the roof for me is one of the key highlights. The very expansive sunroof is super big. Now I was asking our videographer how much he thought the car was worth, and he was saying like 1.5, 1.6, when in reality it's 1,158 something, somewhere there. Now granted, MG in the Philippines is handled by the Covenant Car Company. They are a 5-star distributor company, meaning they're rated at the highest rating for service awards. So pretty much very reliable. The MG also does come with a 5-year warranty or 100,000 kilometers, whichever comes first. So you're rest assured that when you're using this car, that you have that solid feeling that the company is behind it, backing their product with the quality assurance. Now let's move over to the interior, because the interior of this car was very surprising. When Iggy first saw the car, he was a little scared that he was going to be a bit cramped, a bit tight, being that he is 6'3", 220 pounds. We were thinking that, oh, this might be a tight fit. I am 5'11", although I am about 140 pounds, so for me, it wasn't such an issue. But for him, we were figuring out like, okay, will we fit? But when we did the test fit, everything was fine. I could sit behind him and sit comfortably and not forcing myself. This morning when we were asking Joey, Joey said that her knees weren't even touching the back of the front seat, so pretty good there. Now let's go to the inside, because the inside is where the party is at. Over here, I have a 1.4 liter water bottle, which fits comfortably in the side buckets. So look at that. Now, the center does have smaller cup holders, but they're not that useful. I would use that more for your phone or for some coins or the key. But this one right here, you have enough space for a 1.4 liter bottle and also a little more space for some junk food. Now, simple trim, this is all vinyl. Now, they didn't have to do the faux carbon, but the faux carbon looks good again with the red stitching. Now, the red continues to the inside of the cabin from the interior to the dashboard. So now I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I can raise the seat up and down and front and back and recline it. Now, the other seat, which is the passenger seat, is actually a manual chair. Over here, we have the side mirror controls, and these are the levels for the headlights, our fuel cap and hood opener down here. Now this car does have cruise control, which is over here. We have a adjuster which raises the steering column up and down, but it does not do any telescopic features. We have the headlights and signal light controls over here. The left side of the steering wheel is the radio function along with the source function and the, I think, cell phone drop and mute button. Over here on the right side, we have the controllers so that we can toggle the digital display dash. Now, the dash is actually quite nice because it is very clear and very precise with the information. It doesn't give you unnecessary information that will distract you. One of the key highlights that MG did tell me was the 10-inch infotainment system. The previous ZS model, which wasn't a turbo, actually only had an 8-inch model, and I'm guessing much slower. This also comes with a start button feature rather than a key ignition. And then also one of the highlights that I think is pretty cool is the 4 USB ports. So basically each passenger who has a cell phone gets to charge. There's only one port though, which supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Now the sound system for me is maybe a little on the thin side, where we do lack some bass in the sound system, but it's not bad overall. Now the steering wheel is connected to an electronic power steering wheel, and it's pretty light and maneuverable. In the highway, I actually didn't have any complaints with it. The brake system for this car is fairly decent, and again, the power and acceleration is okay. It's not the best, but it does do the job in terms of serving the economic purpose. Now over here we have a little cubby hole for your shades, and obviously the courtesy lights. Here we have a nice mirror so you can check on your face. And then this is the controls for the moonroof. Now we do have a sunshade that you just press there, and it brings the sunshade back and forth. But right now we're going to keep it open because it's nice and beautiful day today. So here we just twist the knob and the whole sunroof just goes back on its own. It's pretty quick, and to my experience, this is actually fairly big. Now, if you think that's big already, you can actually twist it one more time and it's gonna open even further. I actually don't know why they didn't just max it out to begin with. But the steering wheel is not a circular steering wheel. It's got that sort of F1 vibe where it's got the flat bottom. Now, for tall people like me, it does make sense because it doesn't hit my knees. So that's a pretty cool innovation. The red stitching continues to the inside of the steering wheel, down to the column and down to the shifter. There is an embroidered logo of MG on the shifter, which is pretty cool. So there's no paddles in this MG. Also, you can just drop down and then go to the right, and you have the manual mode where you can actually select the gears on your own. The touchscreen module isn't as slow, so it's pretty responsive. When you press like the 360 view, you can get an overall picture of where the car is, especially for parking in narrow, tight spaces. It's pretty useful. It also does turn on automatically when we drop to reverse, like so. Now, also on the passenger side and the rear sides, you also have this big cubby hole which fits a ton of stuff. And then we have our glove box with this little cute red carry case with an MG logo. It almost reminds me of like a Rimowa case in that sense. Now they have the Morris Garage emblem there with the MG, and then you get your owner's manual included here. And when I was mentioning to you guys the key, now this is very rare. Normally when the keys come, they're just black and chrome. Having a red highlight, I think pretty cool. It's a nice touch, especially because it matches the rest of the interior trim. Now the center cup holders, again, as I said, are pretty useless. Maybe they fit those 300 to 250 ml bottles, but anything bigger than that, they will not fit. But for coins and stuff, no problem. Now you do have this removable option here, which would fit maybe bigger cups, but then again, you have these side cups, so I guess with your Starbucks latte, it would fit without this holder. And then when you need this holder back, you can just put it back in, like so. The car has 6 airbags to my knowledge. We have an airbag here for the driver, an airbag here for the passenger, 1 airbag on the side of the seat, and 1 airbag on the pillar as a curtain. So in terms of crash rating, according to the Australian Crash Rating Society, the previous ZS model was already 4 out of 5 stars, and I'm guessing because this is the newer model, they've improved that feature, so it might be a 5 over 5 stars. We're gonna have to wait for the final announcement on that. Now moving to the 10-inch infotainment system, it's pretty cool because it supports Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You do control the rest of the car features here as well as the climate control. Now the system is pretty responsive, it's not laggy or slow, and the interface looks very nice. I do find it a little bright though sometimes in the evening, so there is an option to actually just turn it off. Now when you do need it again, you just need to press it again and voila, it's over there. Now when you're doing the reverse system, you can actually press 360 here or 360 down there, or just put it in reverse. I don't know why you need so many 360 buttons. I guess it's one of the key highlights they didn't want to show in the car. So as you can see here, I can see the cars, what it's seeing on the reverse side, and then an overall picture also of the top. You can go into 3D mode and actually get different angles of the car, just in case you want to know what's beside your car if you can't see through the window. There are some other key features when you go into setup where you can customize a few things. I have tuned the radio just a little by adding some more bass to the system, but then again, as I said, it does lack maybe a subwoofer in that sense. But for this price point, I'm not sure if any of the other competitors do have the sub included with them. Now the car does support Bluetooth also, so in case you didn't plug your cable into the system, you can still stream music as well. So pretty nifty there. The attention to detail doesn't stop in the dashboard. It continues all the way to the seats. Now MG did not have to add all these extra things. They embroidered the MG logo on the headrest, and then look, the panels usually in the base model cars are flat, but this has contours and other faux carbon with the red stitching. I think, you know, the detail to quality and attention was pretty much well thought of. It wasn't something that they just like put together and said like that will do. They really wanted to make the car feel a little more special. I keep repeating that I am 5'11", and Iggy sat in the front seat and he is 6'3", and look, I have roughly an inch of space here. Now being that it's a front wheel drive system, if you did have a middle passenger, the tunnel in the middle is actually not that big. Now you also have the cubby bins extended here, which you can put, again, the 1.5 liter bottle. The fake vinyl and faux carbon extends all the way to the rear seats as well. Now being that I'm really tall, I don't feel any more claustrophobic because the headroom for the crossover SUV market has really improved. And also you have a grab handle here in case your driver's a nutcase like me, and you have this nice beautiful moonroof, which means you really don't feel the tininess of the car, and honestly it doesn't feel tiny at all. Now let's move over to the back, because in case you do need to haul a lot of stuff, you can fold the seats down and open the rear bed here, and then you can have a ton of space. Last of the last, the rear end of the car. Over here we have a little shark fin antenna. Now we're going to move to the rear. This is actually a cool highlight where you actually just lift it and push, and then you can open the boot. Now the taillights actually do remind me of like a little Touareg. Right now we're going to show you how much space the rear cabin is. I'm going to remove this deck lid here and then pop this out. So now I'm just going to fold these seats down and you can see how much more cabin space we have. Under here in the floorboard we actually have a spare tire and a jack and other tools that you might need in case you have a flat. And then over here on the sides, again, just more space. Now, generally, the rear deck is actually fairly big if you remove the cover. Now, I'm really surprised with this car and I'm going to give my closing remarks as we drive back into the city and actually use the car for some errands within the day. Here's an interesting feature. We do have a hill hold feature. So in case we were to stop here on the hill, hold the brake, and as we let off the gas and the brake, as we let off the brake, it holds the car on the hill. You can push the button to lock the car, and the mirrors fold in automatically, which is pretty cool. Super easy to park the car because it is a subcompact SUV. It's been such an awesome day and I really have very little gripes about this car, but I will state 5 things I don't like about this car because I am nitpicking on the car. It's not necessarily flaws of the car, so please take note. These are just based on my opinions and how I've used the car and perceived it so far. Number 1, the horn needs a lot of improvement. If a horn is high and low, this one just feels like it's a high horn. Also, the ride of the car is a little firm. I'd say if you were to lessen the dampening just a little, it would improve the ride much better. And then the Bluetooth or the Apple CarPlay doesn't work with the iPhone 13. Also with Joey's phone it didn't work. It works for a while and then it disconnects all of a sudden. And then beyond those 3 things, I actually don't know what else I don't like about this car. Everything about this car has actually amazed me and I'm such a fan. It's actually been very enjoyable to have this car. Thank you so much to MG Philippines, the Covenant Car Company, and obviously my network partners who set this up for me. And I hope you guys enjoyed this in-depth review of the ZST, and then hoping MG can send me more cars to review in the future because this was fun.